guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account and we are doing a tier list breakdown, guys. Now overall in AFK Arena, I believe we're up to 126, possibly more heroes at this point. So when it comes to the signature items, it is very, very important who you build out and kind of where you build them out to. So I'm going to go through a basic tier list. Now, one thing to note is tier lists are very, very subjective to the heroes you have, also the heroes that you utilize. So this is going to be another tier list that is kind of a work in progress. And I'm doing it off of the basics and the fundamentals when it comes to AFK Arena and when it comes to the heroes. There are a couple in here that really do need the signature item to shine, where other ones will actually do exceptionally well at a plus 20. But of course, guys, taking a hero to a plus 30 signature item will, of course, increase the stats, increase the damage, also give them a couple other things that are pretty viable. So let's go ahead and take a look at the list. All right, guys, so here is the list. As you can see, we have a lot of heroes within AFK Arena as of right now. A majority of them, or the bulk of them, you can see we do have a significant amount in that plus 30 signature item. We do have a lot of heroes in the plus 20 signature item. Now, overall, the reason for this, guys, is a lot of heroes, the plus 20 signature item will work and work incredibly well without going to that plus 30, but there are heroes that specifically need that plus 30 signature item. So we're going to run through the list, kind of show you the logic behind some of these heroes, and a lot of them, even starting in our top left, guys, with like Raku. Raku is super dependent on stats. So the higher that you build them out, the bigger the signature item, the furniture, the engraving, any stats for damage dealers will provide an incredible amount of damage and damage amplification when it comes to actually building them out to that plus 30 signature item. He will work at a plus 20, but really shines at a plus 30. And then you have heroes like Lucretia. Lucretia will not work without that plus 30. That is actually what gives her the massive buff when heroes die. So again, looking at a build like her, plus 30 signature item is an absolute priority. Now, this isn't meant to be a tier list for building the signature items specifically. This is literally a tier list to kind of cross-reference with our hero tier list, depending on where they fall, and then seeing where kind of the basic build for the heroes are at. Now, the Awakened version of Solus, similar to all the other Awakened heroes, guys, this really unlocks the abilities that the hero does have. Without them, of course, she's not going to be super effective. Rowan, the plus 30 signature item, gives him that energy potion, which makes Rowan's efficiency literally go through the roof, and the reason why players still build him. Same with Khazard. Khazard at that plus 30 signature item is what unlocks the ability to actually have it actually gives him the ability to remove the dissolve or add dissolve points. I think one or the other, but it extends the duration of the heroes within the formation. Now, Alna, of course, will negate the dodge within there with that plus 30 signature item. Again, she is another one. Plus 20 will work. Plus 30 has a lot of viability, again, against dodge heroes, things of that nature. And that's why I do like her in that plus 30 range. Now, looking at Albedo, plus 30, absolutely, guys, it is what gives the attack and the defensive buffs to all of the heroes within the Dimensional faction, meaning that she is a requirement to build out. Now, Silas, of course, the plus 30 does give you the attack rating boost, which is huge for him because that is one of the primary driving forces why players do build Silas. Same with Brutus and Baden, guys. They are the Awakened heroes. You're going to be missing the skills and abilities if you do not have these heroes at the plus 30 signature item. As you've seen with the Awakened version of Brutus, I actually took him to a 35. That way the substat within the signature item field was haste. So we actually added on a little bit of haste. Players will also do that same with the Awakened version of Belinda to add, I believe she has crit within there and not haste. Again, I'm trying to recall all of these kind of from memory. Then we have Amelia. Amelia, of course, when she provides crowd control, that is going to be the energy boost for that plus 30 signature item. Halos, of course, the big shielding aspect. Matria, the Awakened ones, same that we see with the Awakened version of Belinda. It is going to be the stats that they are really, really bringing to the game. Then, of course, Scarlet, it is just pure damage, guys. Massive, massive damage with that plus 30 signature item on her. Kanice and Rook, survivability is huge with Kanice and Rook. Again, another reason with some of the Celestials and Hypogeans really require that plus 30 signature item to really shine. When we look at the Awakened version of Taylene, still very important when it comes to the faction tower, but seeing a lot less utility among other game modes. Now Oden is the damage, guys. Again, similar to Raku and a couple other ones, it will actually allow his damage to go much higher as it scales much stronger. Now Zorath, of course, is damage. Plus 20 on Zorath will work. Plus 30, of course, works incredibly well with the damage amplification factor that he has. Also having that furniture in there to delay the entrance into the battlefield. Now, of course, Merlin is going to be the damage mitigation factor. We have Vathiel in here as a major buffer, but also the survivability aspect. Now, Thane, the exact same, guys. It is going to be the damage aspect that he possesses with that plus 30 signature item. Thorn, of course, it gives him the double retaliation. And I believe with Athalia, I don't think it might be the bleed effect. I think that might be on the furniture. Again, guys, I am trying to recall these kind of from memory. But overall, guys, very effective when it comes to the damage dealer. Now, Iran, I believe it doubles the duration of the stun that he does produce. Looking at a couple other heroes, Ainz, of course, guys, the massive damage that he still puts out. And a lot of players were actually commenting about Ainz, guys. Ainz still has a lot of utility in AFK Arena, especially if you are a free-to-play player that does have Ainz built or got him through the garrison. As a free hero, guys, he still has a lot of utility. And again, if you don't have all these heroes built, there is a lot of viability. Now, Ogath, of course, is going to be the damage. Same with the awakened version of Athalia. And I believe with Isolde, it is the healing aspect with the plus 30. Again, I'm trying to kind of think of this. But Isolde plus 30, the survivability, once he starts scaling, very hard to kill him. With Talene, again, it is the damage. Saurus provides that healing buff. When he has the plus 30 signature item, he actually gets 5 stacks, and he can actually keep the entire team alive, which is huge. We have Orin in here, which again is the damage crowd control aspect for him. Nevi, I believe that is what shears off the buffs or the debuffs that your team has. Very powerful. Granted, it is the crowd control aspect, guys. Even having Granite similar to Khazard at the mythic level plus 30 signature item for those two heroes are the absolute game changer. Now we have the OG version of Thane in here. With the original version of Thane, you do have to have the 60 engraving, but he has to be completely maxed out to be viable when it comes to the damage wise. Again, looking at the hero itself. Now, when we look at Mizoth, the giant meatball, I believe it is the crowd control. And then we have Peanut, of course. She gets the mitigation from the engraving, but overall, with the signature item, it allows her to do damage. Now, that is one of the big things that I feel a lot of players kind of overlook, guys, is Peanut is a hero that does an incredible amount of damage within AFK Arena, especially if you have her at the plus 20 or plus 30 signature item. Again, the higher that you build her, the more damage she's going to be putting out. Now, looking at the plus 20, and again, this is a bulk, and this is the basis for building out these heroes, guys. Now, there's a lot of heroes that you will keep strictly at a plus 20 signature item that you actually will not take pretty much higher, which we'll kind of go through. But again, if you're taking the heroes at the plus 20 signature item up to the plus 30, it's going to make a big difference in the hero, and also it is going to add that other ability. But if you're really stressed for red chest, they are heroes that will work and do work incredibly well at the plus 20 without taking them to actually that plus 30. The first one we have is, of course, Daemon. Now, the plus 30 on Daemon just extends the shield by, I believe, 2.5 seconds. But overall, utility at a plus 20 works incredibly well. Same that we see with the twins. The twins will work fundamentally at that plus 20. Not a huge drive. I didn't even take my twins to a plus 30 till probably after 3 years of having them. Joan, the exact same plus 20 will work. Palmer, Skarath, even looking at both of those. Plus 30 on Palmer is not super important. The plus 20 works incredibly well. Even here, Skarath, again, looking at that Sandstorm ability that he does. Overall, he used to do damage in formations with Dark Namora. As of now, guys, it is really just the 5 pull that we're seeing him in. Leica, of course, the accuracy comes from that plus 20. Getting the plus 20 is what actually amplifies her damage. Not only dealing with some of the survivability issues, but she actually gets the, I believe it is the attack rating boost from the accuracy that she has over the opponent. So works incredibly well. Kren is another one, guys. The plus 20 signature item will work perfectly on him. If you're taking him much higher, then again, it is really the damage aspect. Big thing on him is the engraving on him. That is what deals with the survivability issues that we see with Kren, is of course the engraving on there. Now Pippa with the plus 20 fundamentally works with the plus 20 guys within the Thorn Cheese, couple other formations. Pippa doesn't work without the plus 20. Plus 20 for her is actually a minimum for a lot of different builds, but definitely going to want to take her to the plus 20. If you try using her in the Thorn Cheese without the signature item, it does not work. And unfortunately, it does not work at all. Now looking at Anasta, very similar guys. Anasta, the damage reduction comes from getting the engraving much higher. Even the furniture on some of these heroes is a lot more important. And the engraving, same with Mishka. Guys, it is the furniture and it is the engraving for Mishka that really, really drives home how well she does. Rem, of course, massive damage. If you take her to the plus 30, damage can go through shields, but the damage is situational because if you're fighting teams that do not have the shields, the plus 30 signature item will give a little bit more damage. But overall, again, if you're not fighting a team with shields, not going to be super effective within there because that ability is kind of nullified. Now, Edwin, of course, the survivability in there, a lot of it comes from the furniture because of the immunity that he gets in there, and then the engraving with the buffs. Now, Grez, a lot of players, you'll eventually take him to 30. Same with Tamaris, same with the original version of Aziz, guys. All three of them fundamentally will work incredibly well at the plus 20 signature item without having that plus 30. Now, looking at Desira, when you take Desira to a plus 30, she gets that damage mitigation. But it is, I believe, when you're covered by the Oceanic Mist, again, plus 20 will work. Same we see with Mulan and Moriel. The plus 20s on the heroes will work. If you're looking to maximize the damage, Audrey, the plus 20 works. Plus 30 signature item overall will do a lot more damage, which is the same with Frampton, guys. Again, both of those heroes very dependent on furniture, very dependent on the engraving. So when you do engrave these heroes, it works incredibly well. Even with Rosaline, plus 20 will do the transfer of the attack rating. When you get to the 30, I believe it bumps in the crit. I believe it transfers a little bit of crit. Sonya, of course, the furniture on her is huge. Entendre, the plus 20, again, will work. 30 is a little bit better. Yennefer, the plus 20 is really all that you need because of the way that she works. The plus 30 is the situational one, where if there's any enemies on the allied side, it will actually teleport them out. Again, if there's no enemies, it has no purpose. At that plus 30, plus 20 works incredibly well. And literally, guys, just going through this list, you can see we have Zap, we have Mara, we have Brutus with the shield. I put Guineas in here. He does work, again, at a plus 20. The plus 30 will give him a little bit more damage mitigation. But overall, Drez, again, plus 20. He is really important when it comes to the furniture because that is what really drives the damage within the hero. Leonardo, even kind of just jumping around a little bit right here. Leonardo, of course, is the furniture that does the amplification for the damage with the ultimate ability. Very important to have the furniture. Plus 20 on Pharrell works incredibly well. Even looking back here, guys, heroes like Scrag, the plus 20 is really the minimum that you want on there. Same with Rain. Rain does the shielding ability and the energy with that plus 20, which is the reason, again, basic builds on these heroes, guys, you can really see right here. And a lot of these I have at 20. So looking at Belinda, looking at Tassie, looking at Oku, looking at even like Salakai, a lot of these heroes, the plus 20 will be more than enough. Again, there's eventually, depending where they fall within the hero tier list, there'll be a lot that you take up to the plus 30. And even looking here, guys, Anasta, you know, when you look at Mishko, when you look at Rem, when you look at a couple, even Tamaris, guys, Tamaris's furniture is huge. Grez gets a very, very short extension duration to the Skeletal Warriors. Again, not a game changer when it comes to the build, but some of the damage dealers absolutely going to want to take to that plus 30 signature item. And then down here, we do have our plus 10s, guys. Most of these heroes do not see any play anywhere short of probably the tower. Again, plus 10, it gets relatively cheap when you're at that plus 10 signature item. As you progress further into AFK Arena, getting them to a plus 10 or a plus 20, a lot of these heroes I wouldn't take past a plus 20, just for the simple fact that it does get costly when you start getting into those red chests. And with our 2-week release schedule for heroes, it is very, very fast and very prevalent how important to get 300 red chests if there is a priority hero to actually take up to that plus 30 signature item, that you get them built out ASAP. And then of course, guys, we have the bottom tier with no signature item. Doesn't really make a difference if you build them or not. I don't even use any heroes in this bottom row, even in the towers, guys. I literally do not use any of them in the towers unless they're auto-filled in a formation, because I don't have any of them built. Same with a couple up here like Cirrus and Respin. Yukio, don't really have them built whatsoever. Leofric, I've never built. Oscar and Peggy, I tried on the Lightbearer account. I actually have them built out significantly. Not super effective, even within the tower, guys. I'm not super sold on both of those heroes. And again, when you look at utility, when you look at the Twisted Realm, Cursed Realm, Nightmare Corridor, you know, Treasure Scramble, even looking at the Temple Rift, a lot of these heroes in this more of the bottom SI tier are not really used anywhere within AFK Arena. Sorry guys, I hope it helps a little bit. Now this again is going to be kind of a work in progress. I'm going to save this so we can add it, we can build it out, we can actually adjust it just like we've done with our tier list. So guys, again, that'll do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and as always, thank you guys for watching.